Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you have been on Ozempic and it did not work for you, you are not alone. If you feel that you are to engage in disordered eating and starving yourself just to stay remotely close to your goal weight, this video is for you to say you are not alone. So before we get started, for those of you who are new, I'm completely blind, so that is why I don't look directly into the camera. And yeah, this is a bit different to my usual content, which is usually perfume related, but I thought, you know what, I really want to talk about it. Perhaps you want to hear about it, and perhaps we can meet each other on this common ground. If I can go just a little bit through my journey, I have always struggled to maintain my goal weight since I was about 11, 12, since I hit puberty, basically. I have struggled to maintain my weight. And I've been on so many diets. The 28-day diet, the Special K diet, the, was it keto? Yeah, I think the keto diet, protein diet. I was on so many diets in my life. I know if I look back on my life, I just can tell you what I weighed at each point. I can tell you how hungry I was. I can tell you about the diets. It's just an unhealthy mess if you look back at my history. And you will know what it feels like if you are in my shoes. There are those people who tell you,
just eat a little less.
or
Just exercise a little more.
or
Take in a little less sugar.
or
Eat breakfast.
or
You know what helped for me is that I drink a lot of water.
and you think to yourself you have no clue what you are talking about. You have no clue what you're talking about. And just to underscore that, last year, September, I decided no more dieting. And I decided I'm going to try and lose weight the healthy way. So I exercised at least 5 times a week. I did weights, arms, back, core, legs. 4 times a week at least. I jogged 6 to 7 Ks. And 5 times at least every week, I walked my dog for 2 Ks. So I was doing a lot of exercise. I started drinking water by the gallons. I ate vegetables before every meal. I started eating breakfast. So I started adding instead of subtracting. Did I lose 1 gram? Nope. I did not. And then it feels to me people think I'm lying, that I'm actually not eating as healthily as I say I am, or I'm actually not exercising as much as I am, because why am I not losing weight, right? So in February this year, I decided enough. I am done with the struggle. I am going to go on Ozempic. The 14th of February, I made the decision. I went to the doctor, got the Ozempic, got my first injection. 0.25. Guys, and I'm not a health professional. I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to give any medical advice. Please, for that, you go to your healthcare provider. I'm a psychologist, but about the medical stuff, I know nothing. So, not nothing, but I'm not here to give advice on that. Anyway, so I started. I weighed 78.5 kilos. That is around what? So it's 173 pounds that I weighed, right? Within the first month, I lost approximately 4 kilos because I weighed in at 74.5 kilos. So that's quite a lot. It's about 9 pounds, I think. And I was optimistic. I went up to 0.5 for 4 weeks. Then I went up to 7.75 for 1 week. And then for 3 weeks, I was on 1. On all those weeks, which was 8 weeks, if I calculate right, I did not lose a thing. Not a thing. And in fact, I went up from 74.5 to 75 and 76. I oscillated between 75 and 76. So overall, I lost about 3 kilos on Ozempic. Did I feel the appetite suppressing effects? Guys, here and there, I could say, yo, today I really had no appetite. Yo, today I couldn't eat breakfast. But it was probably 2 days out of the 7 days in a week that I felt that way. I didn't eat, in my mind, significantly less than I usually eat. A little bit, probably. But I was never one to eat seconds anyway. You know, I was never one to have large portions. So I cannot, for example, eat a starter, a main meal, and a dessert. Sometimes not even a main meal and a starter, or a main meal and a dessert, you know, in the best of times. So I didn't feel that it had such a huge appetite suppressing effect on me. Also, I actually, if I think of side effects, when I was on 0.5 and on 0.25, there was really no side effects. But when I went up to 1, I experienced a lot of nausea and headaches. But not the nausea that you feel like you can't eat. It was a nausea that I have to eat. And I have to eat something like bread or a McDonald's burger. Not something healthy, you know what I'm saying? So that was the only thing that I felt helped for my nausea. So I then decided to wean off Ozempic. Let me start with the positives. With Ozempic, for the first time in my life, I felt I could eat and I will not gain weight. And I said, you know, from 74.5, I then went up to 75 to 76, and I oscillated between those figures. But I never went up to 78.5 again. I stayed there in that realm, and I did not gain weight. For the first time in my life, I felt what it feels like to be able to eat and not make a calculation in your head. Oh, it's so many calories. Oh, my goodness, I have to exercise a bit more. Oh, my word. Oh, I'm just going to, you know, I'm not going to fit into my jeans. What am I going to do? For the first time in my life, I had freedom and I had peace. But of course, I wasn't happy that I didn't lose weight. Now, why did I not lose weight? Of course, I don't have the answer for you. Perhaps you have the answer for your situation. I don't have the answer, but I can tell you my thoughts around it. My first thinking is that I did not diet and I did not exercise with Ozempic. And I've seen so many videos and content that say that you absolutely have to do those things. However, and this is infuriating to me, I've seen so many people and people close to me in my life who used it, who did not diet, who explicitly said, Heidi, I'm not going to diet, I'm not going to exercise, and who still lost weight. So I'm not saying that on Ozempic you should not diet or you should not exercise. I'm just saying it felt unfair that other people were losing despite not doing those things. You hear what I'm saying? So that's the first thing. I didn't put in effort from my side, but honestly, I didn't feel that appetite suppression. Second, I suspect there might be genetics involved, since someone else who's very close to me, family-wise, did also only lose 2 kilos on Ozempic. It also did not work for her. And thirdly, I was never a big eater to begin with anyway. So, I am on the road at the moment, if we look at the way forward, to try and find out why am I struggling so much with weight. Because, guys, I know that people often say, they just say they can't lose weight, but, meantime they're eating so much. I really don't think, and people who have lived with me know this as well, that I eat too badly. Of course, there's room for improvement. 100%. I will not say there's not. But it shouldn't be this hard. It shouldn't be this hard. And it feels to me like Ozempic has worked for everyone else. And I know it hasn't worked for everyone, but it feels like it has worked for everyone, but it's not worked for me. So I want to find out what it is. If it is my diet, then what should I change? I've went to check my cortisol levels. It was normal. My insulin levels, it was normal. My thyroid, it was normal. So there are some other options that I'm thinking about and that I might investigate. I'm also thinking about Mounjaro. I don't want to do injection hopping, but Mounjaro is a completely different peptide, right? Whereas where Ozempic is a semaglutide, Mounjaro is a tirzepatide. So, and I've heard so many people who said Ozempic did not work for them, but Mounjaro did. So I don't want to do injection hopping, but on the other hand, it was just freedom to not stress and think about food all the time when I was on Ozempic. But I might just consider it. But I will keep you updated. Please do comment down below. What have been your experience on Ozempic? What could you figure out? Why did it work for you? What are your hypotheses? I would love to know. And let's try and figure this out together. So thank you so much for joining me today on this video with a different angle. I will definitely keep you updated as I go along if you are interested. And yes, until the next video, which will be a perfume related one again. Bye bye.